Alright, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to say, call hello, Yahweh, Bashem, Yahusha, Hamashiach, the Rock, Dawash, Rakah. That's all praise to the Most High. We do so in the name of His only begotten Son, who the inhabitants of the earth ignorantly call Jesus Christ. So, another day to teach the scriptures, another day to give wisdom, and another video to show some history, right? So let's go to Proverbs, right? Book of Proverbs. Right. So we have to understand that the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, So that's the only way you'll be able to understand the Bible. Once you fear Yahweh by Hashem Yahushua, and you start keeping the commandments, that's when you will start to get the understanding of the instructions that is written therein, But fools, they won't be able to get it, man, because they despise wisdom and they don't want to be instructed. They think they know what's right and what's wrong. They think the life that they live is decent enough simply because you have a high paying job, have women and materialistic things, But the Lord ain't looking for those types of men. He's taking the Lord's men and He's bringing them up, exalting them, to the top, right? Taking the poor from the low and then making him rich, We seen that all over and over again in the scriptures, Proverbs 1:8, my son, hear the instruction of thy father, and forsake not the law of thy mother. So this is, if we would just keep these, keep the core morals of the Bible, then our households, right, you so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans wouldn't be out of order, right? That's why we have a lot of gang violence. That's why we have a lot of scheming and scamming and theft going around in our communities, man. A lot of our kids, they forsake the instructions of their mother, like take out the garbage can, make sure you wash your dishes, brush your teeth in the morning and at night, make sure you take showers regularly, clean your hair, right? All these things, man, that a mother would teach, but but this is why we have a whole lot of problems with health in our community. Verse 9, for they shall be an ornament of grace unto thy head, and chains about thy neck. My son, if sins entice thee, consent not. So we have a whole lot of problems with peer pressure. Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. Because even when I was in high school, the kids would through class periods, between the period before lunch and the period after lunch is over with, they'll probably skip the period before lunch to have 2 periods, and they'll go and to some secret place in the school. Because I went to a big school, a big high school with many rooms in it that wasn't really occupied by a lot of students and teachers. They'll sneak off into these rooms and smoke weed, or sneak off into the locker rooms and smoke weed. So, and we know smoking weed is a sin. In Genesis, the Lord tells you what you're supposed to use the herb for. The herb is supposed to be used for consumption. It's supposed to be used to be eat. You're supposed to eat it, all right? Not smoke it. And the weed strands of modern day today isn't really real weed. It's all genetically modified in a laboratory, and the THC levels are enhanced to give a better high. Alright, this is the weed that the kids nowadays are smoking, and it's messing up their brain cells, their um, ability to remember things, right? And it makes them slothful. Um, it makes them um, what's the other word I'm looking for? It makes them um, procrastinate. Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. Right. So it says, if sinners entice thee, consent thou not. If they say, come with us, let us lay wait for blood, let us lurk privily for the innocent without cause. So there's an example here. So if these guys, right, they call you in and they trying to get you to come up on a lick, as they would say, a lick on somebody slacking, right? It says, consent now with them, you know, because they're working and they're trying to bang on people who did them no wrong. You know, let us swallow them up alive as the grave, and whole as those that go down into the pit. We shall find a precious substance. We shall fill our houses with spoil. Cast in thy lot among us. Let us all have one purse. Right, so let's work together, man, and get this bag, man, and then, let's split it amongst ourselves. Let's go take that from these other guys, and we gonna split that money. My son, walk not thou in the way with them, refrain thy foot from their path, right? So you know, don't even come around them anymore, Don't walk in their path, right? Whether it be you walking with them to do these evil things, or you just all around just ignoring these guys, man. For their feet run to evil and make haste to shed blood. Surely in vain the net is spread in the sight of any bird, and they lay wait for their own blood. They lurk privily for their own lives. So are the ways of every one that is greedy of gain, which taketh away the life of the owners thereof, man. So that's the drug wars we have right there, man. Modern day today, right? Because all of these scriptures, man, you can apply it to today, right? Because this word is living. The people in the ancient world, the Israelites in the ancient world was going through this, and even their descendants now today are still going through this. Proverbs 1:20, wisdom cried out, she uttered her voice in the streets. And so, right, so this is why a lot of our ministries are outside on the street corners, because the Lord told us to go to the highways and hedges and compel them to come into the house, so the house might be full. So we are commanded by the master to go as a servant, to go out into the streets, man, and preach and get people to come in, whether they be evil or good, man. The Lord will separate them. In the supper, in the feast, as it is in Ezekiel the 21st chapter, right? Right, so wisdom is gonna be crying out on the streets, man. Like the Bible is gonna be uttering his voice out there, man, through the mouthpieces that the Lord have set up, right? She cried in the chief place of concourse, in the openings of the gates. In the city she uttered her words, saying, how long, ye simple ones? So we go everywhere, man, to teach, man. We go to the barrios, man, the slums, the ghettos, man, to the heavily induced gang activity neighborhoods, man. We set up camp, man, and we fish, right? And we tell these guys, man, how long, you stupid ones, man? Because that's what simple means, right? How long, you foolish, stupid ones, man? Are you gonna love this simple life, man? This basic peasant life, man, that we're living right now in America, man. When we were made to do far more than what we was taught to be in America, man. Because you go to high school and you go to college, man. The curriculums, they just teaching you how to just be a good servant, man, to a company, right? They don't teach you to be business owners. They don't teach you to be um, entrepreneurs, man. They teach you to obey, to listen, obey, and don't ask questions, basically. And the scorners delight in their scorners. So we have scorners just like that scorn against what's being told to them. They'll find any and all excuses to not believe. Right? These are what these scorners do because they don't want to change their lives, man. They don't want um, to change the way they think, man. Because that's all they've known, and they've been good at it, man. So they're not going to change their profession to something else, you know. And the scorners delight in their scornings, and fools hate knowledge because a lot of our people hate knowledge, man. Like you'll tell somebody over and over and over again how paganistic Christmas and Halloween and Easter is, but they just in one ear and out the other, man. You would tell them about the history of the false gods, man. You'll give them sources that they can read up on, and a lot of these guys, the majority of these guys can't even read, man. You give them any type of book to read, bro, they can't even finish a sentence without stumbling upon a word or mispronouncing it or stuttering it, man, and they don't have no flow with the words that they read, man. Elementary level, a lot of these guys, man. But those are the people the Lord told us to go out there and teach, man. Turn you at my reproof. Behold, I will pour out my spirit upon you, right? So the Lord's gonna pour out His spirit, which is the same thing. Well, the spirit is the same thing as the word, man. He's gonna pour out His word unto them, man. I will make known my words unto you, right? And so through the disciples, He's making His word known to them because they not a lot of these guys, bro. They not gonna. They've been into they've been to church at least one time before, bro. And in that time, they haven't came to the thought of actually open up the book and reading it for themselves, man. They not doing that, man. So we have to make the Lord have different types of avenues where He uses men to make His words known unto people, man. Because I have called and ye refused, I have stretched out my hand and no man regarded, right? So this is the Lord speaking through David, I believe. Yeah, He's speaking through David because David was a prophet. Because I have called and ye refused, I have stretched out my hand and no man regarded, but ye have set at naught all my counsel and what none of my reproof, man. Because the Lord set up men to counsel, right? Which is supposed to be free of charge. You're not like, you can't take the Bible, right? No matter how good you are at teaching it and put it behind a paywall. You like someone can accuse you, rightfully could accuse you of merchandising the truth, which you respectfully are. You know, counseling from the Bible is supposed to be free. I also will laugh at your calamity. I will mock when your fear cometh. When your fear cometh as desolation, and your destruction cometh as a whirlwind, when distress and anguish cometh upon you, right? So, because you mocked against the words of the Most High, the Lord Himself, He's going to laugh, giggle at your calamity, man. You going through hardship, man. The Lord gonna laugh at that, and the Lord is gonna mock, you know, when your fear coming, right? So let's look at that word mock. Can I click it like that? Mock to ridicule, right? Basically, having derision, laugh, scorn, mock, laugh to scorn, right? Um, so the Lord's gonna mock at your she's gonna ridicule you, man. When your fear comes, man, he gonna be like, well, I can't speak in that certain, so I can give you an example of how I would mock at somebody. I would say, well, he had it coming to him, man. He was warned. He, you know, didn't take heed to the sound of the trumpet. So, hey, whatever happens to him, happens to him, man. His demise is his own. His downfall is his own works. When your fear cometh as desolation, and your destruction cometh as a whirlwind, when distress and anguish cometh upon you, then shall they call upon me. So when you're going through hell, man, that's when these people start to call upon God. It happens over and over again. But I will not answer. So the Lord ain't gonna answer you. The Lord ain't gonna give you what you want. They shall seek me early, but they shall not find me, right? For that they hated knowledge and did not choose the fear of the Lord. They would none of my counsel. They despised all my reproof. Therefore shall they eat up the fruit of their own way and be filled with their own devices. So these guys are going to eat their own words. They're going to heap to themselves their own devices, and it's going to all fail them. For the eternal way of the simple shall slay them, and the prosperity of fools shall destroy them. But whosoever hearkeneth unto me shall dwell safely. So those who listen to Yahweh is going to be able to dwell safely and shall be quiet from fear of evil. And evil evil ain't gonna come our way. Basically saying, right? Well, we ain't gonna fear evil. I'll put it like that. So, some wisdom from Proverbs. Let's go to the next chapters. Let's read a couple more. Right. Proverbs 2:1. My son, if thou would receive my words and hide my commandments with thee, so that thou incline thine ear unto wisdom and apply thy heart to understanding. Yea, if thou criest after knowledge and liftest up thy voice for understanding, if thou seekest her as silver and searchest for her as for hid treasures, then shalt thou understand the fear of the Lord and find the knowledge of the God. Find the knowledge of God. So if you're crying out for knowledge, man, to know, and you lift up your voice, you scream for it, man, at the top of your voice for that understanding, and you seek it as you would silver, and you search for it, right, as if it was a hid treasure, because a lot of this truth, right, that the Hebrew Israelites teach, bro, a lot of this information is hidden, right? Powers that be go through extreme lengths to demonize it. They go and monitorize it, and put it in an algorithm so that it's hard to find. Right, you won't find it in the trending pages, on these different websites or in YouTube, man. You have to actually search for it. So if you go through all of that, man, then shalt thou understand the fear of the Lord and find the knowledge of God. For the Lord giveth wisdom, out of his mouth cometh knowledge and understanding. He layeth up sound wisdom for the righteous. He is a buckler, man. He's a shield to them that walk uprightly. And that's the whole goal. Trying to be as perfect as you can, man. Trying to perfect yourself, man. Every day trying to do the laws of God, right? The laws that you're able to do, right, in this captivity, and rehearsing it, man. Like, the laws of God, using the laws of God as like a checklist, and reading it, performing it, believing in it, doing it, checking it off. Okay, what's the next one? What's the next to-do list, man? And that's what we supposed to be doing, man. And keeping these words hidden within us, man. So I hope this was edifying. That I want to say, call hello Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shah, and Katab La Banaf Babal. Shalom Israel. Shalom Yasharahla.